We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Ghostbusters Back in Town, Issue 1. This is a mini-series from 2024, published by Dark Horse. Script by David Booher, art by Blue Delliquanti, colors by Mildred Lewis, letters by Comicraft's Jimmy Betancourt, cover art by Kyle Lambert. Assistant editor was Misha Gear, edited by Jenny Bingham Blank. Cover's okay, a lot of wasted space though. Really should have had larger figures instead of just a bunch of random clouds. So the kids from Ghostbusters Afterlife have made it to New York, and Winston is fixing up the firehouse. There is an accident where one of the construction guys has a roach crawl on him, and that seems to be a running theme. So they talk about New York a lot for some reason. It's obsessively talked about here. They're all gonna live there. It's exciting. And the kids act very disinterested in what's going on, and they kind of go over a little bit about what the kids are doing in New York, because Winston is basically turning the Ghostbusters over to them, and it's kind of a reward for what happened in Oklahoma in Ghostbusters Afterlife. And of course they have to recycle the joke from the original Ghostbusters about the fire pole, so that was lazy. And when the power goes out, Phoebes and Winston go to the basement to check on the grid, and everything seems fine, although the PK meter seems to be going up, and she over-explains that to Winston, who of course knows what that is. And it turns out that a very large cockroach may have been to blame for the power surge and tripping a breaker. Janine shows up. That was riveting. And the kids go to school, and of course Phoebe is super smart and over explains everything in math class, and has a little text exchange with Podcast, who's still in Oklahoma apparently. And the same thing happens with Trevor and Lucky, and Trevor seems a bit lost. They kind of make him look kind of stupid in this, but don't worry, the real bungling idiot is Gary. He manages to break the fire pole. And then there's a giant monster ghost that looks more like something out of the real Ghostbusters cartoon than it does the Ghostbusters movies. Most of the monsters in the Ghostbusters movies, those ghostly figures looked more demonic or scary, like some sort of hybrid undead. This looks like an actual monster. And of course Gary gets grabbed by it because he's an incompetent male. And none of them seem to be able to coordinate very well, so we've got sort of a sense of lack of teamwork and coordination, and at the same time Gary's a bungling halfwit. And I have to say the story was kind of boring. There was a lot of talking nonsensically about New York and random things that didn't matter, so I was a little bored with that. The kids are the super smart ones, of course, except Trevor's dumber than Phoebe, but they're both smarter than the adults from the look of it. And there's a lot of attempts at being kind of gross with all the cockroaches, so that was stupid. The lead-in was a lot of build-up with very little payoff, and the art is, the best I could say, is inappropriate for this type of story. It looks something more like Strangers in Paradise or one of those relationship type books, slice of life things. It doesn't really fit a more action-oriented storyline, which this should have been. So I thought the story was very, very slow. It's a lot of first act with a lot of gibbering that didn't really matter to the story, and the art just isn't the right style for it, and I don't like it. And the paper quality is kind of crap. So this was a big miss. It had the opportunity to be really interesting and kind of cool, and it missed on every front. The characters don't really look like the people from the movies, especially Gary. He looks nothing like Paul Rudd. So I was just really disappointed with this. I'm not going to pick up issue 2. I was bored. Maybe if I stumble across it in a dollar bin somewhere and forget how much I didn't like it, I'll pick it up, but until then, this is really a big miss for me. The cover's the best part. That's got solid art, even though there's a bunch of dead space in the upper left. There's at least people that look like the actors, and you don't get any of that in the book. So I was really disappointed. There's barely any action. It's just a lot of talking, posing as a storyline. So don't waste your money on this one. That's going to do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.